Hello, welcome to the Victorian Museums and Galleries Award 2021. My name is Patrick, and tonight you can call me Patrick. So welcome. It's great to see you. It's great to see so many friends out there. I can't see anyone, but I'm guessing that I've got a few friends out there, both of you. So look, I'd like to begin by respectfully acknowledging the traditional owners of the land of which I'm coming to you from, and I'm on the land of the Wurundjeri people. I'd like to honour their ancestors, elders, and next generations of community. And knowing that we have attendees from across Victoria today, I'd like to extend this acknowledgement to the elders of all of the nations of Victoria, past, present. I grew up in Western Victoria on the west side of the Grampians, and I grew up on the lands of the Jawajali, and I'm very proud to acknowledge them tonight. It's been a challenging year, but a great one, and it's great to be able to come together and celebrate the sector's achievements. You may not be able to hear the applause, but please do show your support to your colleagues and friends via the comment function. You can also use the hashtag @AmargaVic21 or on Twitter. We just received a couple of texts, so if you want to text me, you can. My number is 0439 567 231 042. And we've just received a text from Barnaby Joyce, who says, it's great to see the Mulesing Awards happening this year. And he said, it's no skin off my nose. So thanks, Barnaby. We have one from Emmanuel Macron. I can't really speak French. Mer, it means the sea, doesn't it? Anyway, he did finish with I think he was quoting Scott Morrison saying, je ne sais regrette rien. Anyway, here's one from Boris Johnson. Blah, 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 blah. My friend Mark Zuckerberg promised to send a message tonight, but it doesn't seem to have arrived. Anyway, I hope you're all here for a great night. It gives me great pleasure to introduce the Executive Director of Amarga Victoria, and that is Dr. Ash Robertson. So let's please welcome Dr. Ash Robertson.
Thanks, Patrick. Before I begin, I'd like to acknowledge that I'm also coming to you tonight from Wurundjeri country, and I pay my respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. On behalf of Amarga Victoria, it's my great pleasure to welcome you to our 2021 Victorian Museums and Galleries Awards. For the second year in a row, we find ourselves celebrating online. While this isn't the ideal scenario, I think that we can all look forward to meeting in person at next year's awards. Fingers crossed. I'd like to take an opportunity to thank all of you for joining us here tonight. We have over 100 people registered, which is such a fantastic outcome, especially for an online event. And as the peak body for Victorian Museums and Galleries, this is certainly our favorite night of the year. It's when we get to hear about all the wonderful and exciting things that are happening across the sector. And of course, we get to celebrate them along with you, our friends and colleagues. So again, thank you very much for joining us tonight. As I said, we're here to celebrate the very best in Victorian museums and galleries, and we have so many of you to thank and acknowledge for this opportunity. First of all, the awards would not be possible without the ongoing support of Creative Victoria. As our core funders, Creative Victoria ensures the continuation of our vital work and programming. Programs like Victorian Collections and the Museum's Accreditation Program that lend their specialized knowledge in supporting sector members across the state, and whose achievements we celebrate tonight. Thank you to Danny Pearson, Minister for Creative Industries, for joining us virtually yet again, and we very much appreciate the support that you and your team have provided us in bringing together tonight's events. Thanks go out to our special award sponsors and long-term industry partners, Archival Survival. Archival Survival supports the awards year after year, as well as generously providing prizes for our small and volunteer-run organizational winners. Their support is certainly valued by our team and, of course, by the award recipients. I'd also like to extend my appreciation to Deakin University for supporting the awards and sponsoring the Rosalind Lowry Award, which is now in its 30th year. To our award panelists, we thank you for volunteering your time and for sharing your expertise in the judging process. Your commitment to recognizing industry excellence is greatly appreciated. Finally, I'd like to thank our branch president, Andrew Hiskins, and fellow board members who are joining us tonight. It's been a very busy and challenging year, to say the least, especially for me since stepping into this role earlier this year in April. And I can't tell you how much I valued their guidance and support during the whole transitional period. So to the branch committees that are with us tonight, you have my gratitude. On behalf of the entire team here at Imago Victoria, we hope you enjoy your evening and our warmest congratulations to all the nominees. And please do stick around to celebrate with us on Zoom after the presentation. You may have noticed that we created a very special museum-themed drinks menu for you to enjoy tonight. So hopefully you'll get to join us later on for a little bit of lockdown levity. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Ash. That's great. I'm really looking forward to those cocktails. So, hey, you've been in the role, what you said, since April or something earlier this year. How are you finding it? What's been keeping you? Well, actually, how have you been finding it? But what has been keeping you busy, Ash?
Yeah, as I mentioned before, it's been quite a busy time. We've been spending, the branch committee members and myself, we've been spending a lot of time with strategic planning with the rest of the team as well. We've been doing the plan for the 2022 to 2025 period. We put in quite a few applications for projects that hopefully will be funded for next year. So yeah, just a few months time, but we've done quite a lot, covered a lot of ground during that period.
That's great. Well, I hope you have a great night tonight. We're all very excited about these awards. We better get started. So, ladies and gentlemen, please thank Dr. Ash Robertson, the Executive Director of Imago Victoria. It gives me great pleasure to introduce the Minister for Creative Industries. He's been the Minister for just over a year in this department. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Danny Pearson, Minister for Creative Industries.
Good evening and welcome to the 2021 Victorian Museums and Galleries Awards. I would like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which I stand and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. I also acknowledge and pay respects to the traditional owners of the lands which you're all tuning in from. I'm thrilled to join you tonight to recognise the achievements of Victoria's museums and galleries over the last year. More than 1,000 organisations make up the museum and gallery landscape in Victoria, from small community museums to large cultural institutions and so many in between. Driving this diverse and vibrant sector are thousands of dedicated people who we celebrate tonight, both paid staff and volunteers. I know how challenging the past 2 years have been for you as we have battled bushfires and the pandemic together. I also know that in times of great difficulty, uncertainty and isolation, what you do is even more important. Even when your doors have been closed, you've found new ways to connect with Victorians and share your stories, collections and expertise. And you've done this with incredible resilience, innovation and care. On behalf of the Victorian Government, I thank you for all your incredible work. Through all of this, 2 museums have worked particularly hard. Gaining museum accreditation in normal times is a process that entails significant effort and commitment. To do so during a pandemic, well, that is even more admirable. I'm pleased to welcome 2 newly accredited regional organisations, Charlton Golden Grains Museum and Tatura Irrigation and Wartime Camps Museum. Congratulations to everyone involved. I'd also like to acknowledge the hard-working Imago team for presenting these awards and for their year-round work supporting and skilling up the sector. Finally, congratulations to all of tonight's nominees and everyone who powers Victoria's museums and galleries. You are all winners. Thank you and enjoy.
Oh, thank you so much, Danny. I was going to ask you a question, but you've just left. So maybe, ladies and gentlemen, there's a question for you, just to prove you're the Minister for Creative Arts. What was it, ladies and gentlemen? Quiz question, and you could maybe send your answer in on the comments. What bit of artistic ephemera was the minister wearing on his lapel this evening? But anyway, well, I'll take answers and we'll get back to me shortly. But ladies and gentlemen, let's kick off the awards, the Victorian Collections Awards. So please welcome Dr. Julie Cotter, the Senior Programs Manager at Creative Victoria.
I am very honoured to be presenting this series of awards in the collections category. Since 2009, Victorian Collections has provided free, easy to use collections management services and training and served as a gateway to Victoria's cultural treasures. In December 2020, the redeveloped public website, Victorian Collections, began a new chapter in their story. In addition to museums and community organisations, Victorian Collections now proudly welcomes contributions from galleries, libraries and archives from across the state, engendering a greater understanding and appreciation for Victoria's heritage through access to more diverse collections and stories. Creative Victoria and Museums Victoria are proud partners of Amaga in delivering Victorian collections. Over the past 12 months, the program delivered 20 workshops for nearly 200 people across 100 organisations. More than 40,000 items have been added to the website, contributing to over 200,000 collection items that are publicly accessible today. This is a great credit to the hardworking and dedicated staff and volunteers working tirelessly across the state. Tonight, we are celebrating the cataloguing achievements of the Victorian Collections community. And so, the first award is the Victorian Collections Cataloguing Award for an organisation with paid staff. And the shortlist is Federation University Australia, Churchill Island Heritage Farm, the Beechworth Burke Museum, Flagstaff Hill Maritime Village, City of Ballarat Libraries. And the winner is the Beechworth Burke Museum. Congratulations on your award. The highly commended in this category is Churchill Island Heritage Farm. The second award is the Victorian Collections Cataloguing Award for volunteer-run organisations. And the shortlist is Numurkah and District Historical Society, Kew Historical Society, Malmesbury Historical Society, Camberwell Historical Society, St Patrick's Old Collegians Association. And the winner is Kew Historical Society. Congratulations on your award. The highly commended in this category is Camberwell Historical Society. Since 2016, Victorian Collections has partnered with Veterans Branch, Victorian Government, in delivering the Veterans Heritage Project. ex-service organisations have undertaken extensive training and in collections management and digitisation to facilitate the preservation of and increase public access to Victoria's war heritage. So this award is the Victorian Collections Cataloguing Award for War Heritage Collections paid or volunteer staff. And the shortlist is Ringwood RSL Sub-Branch, Melbourne Legacy, 8th, 13th Victorian Mounted Rifles Regimental Collection, Dandenong Cranbourne RSL Sub-Branch, Charlton RSL Sub-Branch. And the winner is Melbourne Legacy. Congratulations on your award. The highly commended in this category is 8th, 13th Victorian Mounted Rifles Regimental Collection. This brings us to the last Victorian Collections Cataloguing Award, and I'm very excited to announce it's a new category this year. This award is the Victorian Collections Cataloguing Award for Gallery Civic Art Collections. And the shortlist is Bass Coast Shire Council Robert Smith Collection, Darebin Art Collection, Wangaratta Art Gallery, Latrobe Regional Gallery. And the winner is Wangaratta Art Gallery. Congratulations on your award. The highly commended in this category is Bass Coast Shire Council Robert Smith Collection. So I'd like to say congratulations to all of the winners and thank you very much for having me.
Excellent work there, Julie. Thank you. Thank you very much. Wonderful awards there. Great to see the Beechworth Burke Museum, an old favourite haunt of mine. So congratulations, Cameron and team, on that wonderful award. And to top it off at the end, or the top and tail, at Simone and the Wangaratta Art Gallery. Congratulations. Simone, I think, had a bit of a connection with the Beechworth Burke Museum as well. In fact, I know she did. So congratulations to all of you. It gives me great pleasure to introduce all the way from a climate conference in Glasgow. No, sorry, I'm introducing Maggie Solly, who's the MAP Advisory Chair, who will be announcing 2 newly accredited museums. Ladies and gentlemen, Maggie Solly.
Good evening. I recently found myself reflecting on my own involvement with museum accreditation over 30 years and across 2 continents. What enticed me? Well, to be honest, I wasn't very keen to start. It seemed like a lot of work when there was already so much else to be done. How was it going to add to visitor experience? What good could possibly come of taking on such a mammoth task? The light bulb moment was when I realised I had been handed a roadmap to take the museum to a level of best practice, freeing up time previously spent on firefighting and ad hoc improvements, and I was sold, never to look back. The Museum Accreditation Programme, MAP, here in Victoria, is nearing the end of an extensive programme review. During this time, we've worked closely to better understand what accreditation means to our participants. It provides recognition, status and respect, and accreditation is understood by those working outside of the museum sector, providing credibility and validating teams, collections and museum practice to stakeholders. Thanks to our funder, Creative Victoria. Through their Strategic Investment Fund, we have been able to further develop our online portal and to work with sector experts to create important new programme content. One of the key outcomes of the review has been the development of a new programme to sit alongside MAP. CMAP, and I know you've been waiting for this, which stands for Community Museum Accreditation Programme, is specifically tailored to the needs of volunteer-run community museums. It's very apt to be introducing this today when we are accrediting 2 new museums who perfectly embody this commitment to collections and community. None of this can be achieved without our own volunteers, the MAP Advisory Committee members, and all those who provided feedback on the programme throughout this last year. Finally, a heartfelt thank you to the MAP managers over the last year, who have put a huge amount of energy and passion into this review. Caroline Wall, currently looking after 2 little ones, Simone Ewanson, who is now working in Bendigo, and Amelia Mara and Sharon Vardy, the current MAP managers. Congratulations to all the museums who are gaining accreditation this evening. Announcing Tatura Irrigation and Wartime Camps Museum. Tatura Irrigation and Wartime Camps Museum has been open to the public since 1988. In this time, the museum has developed a collection focused on the history of 7 World War II internment and prisoner of war camps, the history of irrigation in the Western Goulburn Valley, and the history of Tatura Township and District. Since enrolling in MAP in 2014, the museum has made significant improvements to the preservation and interpretation of its collection, and has created long-lasting relationships with former internees and their descendants. At the time of the accreditation site visit in 2018, the museum had secured council funding for an extension to the premises, which would create increased and enhanced exhibition and storage space. The panel was impressed with the volunteers' strong focus on continual improvement and ultimately determined that the outcome of the renovations would need to be cited for the accreditation assessment to be completed. It was with great pleasure that after a year of lockdowns, the MAP managers were able to travel to Tatura in early 2021 to view the new exhibition and storage space and confirm the museum's accreditation. George Ferguson of Tatura Irrigation and Wartime Camps Museum will accept the accreditation on behalf of the museum.
Good evening. It is with great pleasure I accept on behalf of the members of Tatura and District Historical Society this official museum accreditation. The accreditation procedure had been started some years earlier, but with personnel leaving the region, the work ceased. We were fortunate when Kerry Gross accepted the challenge and recommenced the whole procedure, seeing it through to this accreditation. We owe a huge amount of appreciation to Kerry, who was responsible for all the MAP workbook presentation. Unfortunately, Kerry cannot be with us today, so I'd like to relate some thoughts from her. In 2017, Tatura Museum's World War II internment and prisoner of war camp collection was heritage listed. This collection, as well as our local history and irrigation collection, was growing rapidly. The members recognised the need to improve our practices and procedures in order to protect and improve the presentation of a valuable collection. Joining MAP program presented a daunting challenge, but we saw it as a challenge that we had to undertake if we were to bring the management of the museum up to the standard required and expected of us as custodians of this unique collection. The MAP workbooks were a valuable resource as we worked through each section. It was a huge learning curve as we faced tasks that we had never previously considered. Thank you to all the museum volunteers who have had to adapt to the new ways of doing things around the museum. During this time, with the assistance of the Greater Shepparton City Council, a large extension consisting of 240 square metres of an exhibition gallery with a temperature-controlled storeroom was added to our 130-year-old museum complex. This gave us the opportunity to fully implement the goals in our collection policy. The museum can now go forward with policies and procedures in place. a professional and inviting destination for visitors, informed and enthusiastic volunteers, and most importantly, the precious and irreplaceable collection is protected for future generations. A special thank you to Lurleen and Arthur Nee for their exceptional knowledge and experience, and at whose initiation the accreditation process was begun. Thank you to all our volunteers and the MAP team, Simone and Caroline, who got us started, and to Amelia for her continued encouragement and guidance throughout the process. Thank you for the honour of this accreditation.
Congratulations, Charlton Golden Grains Museum. Charlton Golden Grains Museum has continued to evolve into a strong and successful volunteer museum since the committee was formed in 1973. Largely due to the generosity of the local community, the museum has developed a collection of over 3,000 artefacts and photographs focused on the district's first peoples and Charlton's early pioneers through to today. Local family history research is also available from the museum's extensive collection of resources. At the time the museum enrolled in MAP, the museum had recently completed renovations after a minor flood and were still recovering from the natural disaster. The flood had not only devastated the museum building and collection, but also 80% of the town. The accreditation panel acknowledged that the museum should be proud of the proven resilience of volunteers who not only overcame the disaster, but also went on to achieve accreditation. The panel commented that the museum undertakes an extremely high workload for the number of volunteers at the organisation, and praised them for the professionalism of their activities. Already accomplishing a high volume of achievements, Charlton Golden Grains Museum made impressive improvements to the preservation and interpretation of the collection, particularly in the collection storage spaces. Let's hear a few words from Carolyn Olive of Charlton Golden Grains Museum.
The Charlton Golden Grains Museum enrolled in the MAP program in 2016. At the time, we were still recovering from a devastating flood which occurred in January 2011 and severely damaged our museum and collection as well as most of our town. We took our 2-year closure as an opportunity to reinvent ourselves and reopen to the public in 2013. However, behind the scenes, we were still in quite a state, with many flood-damaged items still in storage. What we needed was motivation to bring the rest of our museum up to scratch. Enrolling in the MAP program provided just that, motivation and, more importantly, a deadline. Working towards accreditation took a little longer than anticipated, but was definitely worth the effort. It's now a pleasure to walk into the storeroom or open a drawer. Everything is in its rightful place, labelled and stored and displayed correctly. We have policies and procedures for everything, including a much-needed disaster plan. Our priorities are clearer, and our volunteers now have a more enjoyable working environment. From the outset, the MAP team were very encouraging. They knew what a huge task was ahead of us, but were confident we would be successful. We are genuinely thankful for their faith in our abilities and for giving us just the prod we needed. Thank you also to our small band of volunteers who dedicated many hundreds of hours to achieve this wonderful milestone. Thank you.
Wow, just amazing. Please give them a big round of applause. Maggie, thank you so much. 30 years of accreditation in museums. That's amazing. I've been in 3 museums that have gone through the accreditation process, and it's such an amazing process. It's so complex. It takes such a long time, but it's really good. I do like the MAP team. They're great. They really help you find a path out of the difficulties that you have. But I think in the case of Charlton, when they were flooded, probably should have taken a leaf out of Tatura's MAP process and became a museum of irrigation rather than. All right, okay, sorry. But anyway, congratulations to the Tatura Irrigation and Wartime Camps Museum and the Charlton Golden Grains Museum. Aren't they magnificent names? And it talks about how eclectic our whole, 1,000+ museums and galleries association is. But thank you, Maggie, for presenting those. Congratulations, our winners. I did write down one other possible joke about Charlton perhaps talking to the Submarine Museum in Holbrook, but I won't say that because they were actually flooded about 10 years ago, and it wasn't good for them, and nor is it good to be in a submarine at all at the moment. But look, thank you so much, Maggie. That's fantastic. The big question of the night: what was Danny Pearson, the Minister of Creative Industries, what was he wearing on his lapel? It was, in fact, a treble clef. So great to see that he really is a creative. So moving on now, we're going to announce the Rosalind Laurie Award. And so to do that, we have Dr. Billy Griffiths from Deakin University to introduce the award and the finalists, and also to introduce Faye Laurie, who will announce the winner. So we will have Dr. Billy Griffiths.
Hello, my name is Billy Griffiths, and it is my privilege to represent the Rosalind Laurie Award Committee. Each year, Deakin University presents an award for excellence in our Cultural Heritage and Museum Studies program. The award is named in memory of Ms. Rosalind Laurie, the student who achieved the highest academic results in the 10-year history of the course to 1989, when the award was first granted. In the all too short time during which she contributed to the museum profession, Rosalind Laurie epitomised the commitment to standards of excellence in cultural heritage and museum studies. And it is in that spirit and that pursuit of excellence that each year the committee awards $1,000 and the Rosalind Laurie Award title to a Deakin University student. There were 5 very impressive finalists this year. They were Wen C. Lee, Isabel Meister, Harshini Gunatilaka, Rebecca Lloyd, and Anna Burnett. Without further ado, I will pass over to Mrs. Faye Laurie, Rosalind's mother, to announce the 2020 Rosalind Laurie Award winner.
Thank you, and good evening to you all. It's my privilege to announce the winner of this year's Rosalind Laurie Award for Excellence in Cultural Heritage and Museum Studies. However, firstly, I wish to thank the finalists in this award for their submissions. I'm astonished by their skills, achievements, and passion for their chosen careers. My best wishes to them all. My thanks also to the award committee members who have the difficult task of selecting just one winner when there are so many outstanding candidates to choose from. Now, for this year's winner of the Rosalind Laurie Award for Excellence, congratulations to Isabel Meister. Warm best wishes to Isabel, to you, for your future career. May it bring you much satisfaction and great success. Thank you.
Hello everyone, and thank you, Mrs. Laurie. I'd like to begin by saying how honoured I feel to receive this award. It's been a difficult few years for everybody, and I feel especially appreciative to be the recipient of the 2020 award. I'm really grateful for my education at Deakin, especially for the many opportunities that the dual award program has given me, such as the opportunity to live and work in Germany and the cross-cultural experiences this has brought me. So I'd like to say a very big thank you to the Cultural Heritage and Museum Studies Department at Deakin, and above all, I'd like to express my sincere gratitude and thanks to the Laurie family for all their generosity and their continued support of this award. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening.
Well, thank you very much, Isabel, and congratulations. And thank you also to Faye and to Billy and to Deakin University. That's fantastic. So we're coming up to the individual awards. We might take a short break. Okay, hope you enjoyed that, and welcome back. We'll just have a bit of music now. Okay, all right. So we'll get straight into the individual awards, starting off with the Amaga Victoria Award for Excellence for a Volunteer, and the winner is Judith Kershaw from the Port Fairy Museum and Archives. The comments were that Judith's love of history was evident from the time she joined Port Fairy Museum and Archive Society in 1994. She has guided many projects for the archives, including grants, storage projects, and publications. She has had a broad impact on the organisation and is a well-loved, respected, and passionate member of the community. Congratulations, Judith Kershaw.
What a tremendous prize this is to receive such an award. And who would have dreamt that when I joined the Historical Society in Port Fairy in February 1994, that I would even live in a place long enough to get to 25 years, let alone receive an award for doing what I love doing. It has been a most rewarding time, and I have done many jobs. I think I've filled almost every office at various times, and I have always had tremendous support from the colleagues down at the Historical Society, and I must thank them for how they have assisted me over the many years. In particular, I would like to thank Linda Tiemann, who put in my nomination. Linda has also been on the committee with me for 25 years and is still on the committee. So we have done all sorts of things, in services, travelling, history weekends, you name it, we've had a go at it, and we've spent many, many hours wrangling the policies for MAP accreditation, in the first place to be accredited in 1998, and with reaccreditation since. So it's been a mixture, and of course there were challenges along the way, but I really have enjoyed the whole lot. So in accepting this award, I must thank my friends at the Society, particularly Linda Tiemann and Amaga, who without Amaga, of course, there wouldn't be any award. So thank you very much, firstly, for accepting my nomination, and then secondly, for actually awarding it. It's a great honour, and it is always a great honour to be recognised with people working in the same field of endeavour. So to everyone there, thank you very, very much.
Congratulations, congratulations, Judith. The judges also presented a highly commended award to Dr. Ian Buckland from Ballura House and Gardens, and the judges gave special commendation to Dr. Buckland's work in extending the industry and raising the standard of the organisation's work. Congratulations, Dr. Ian Buckland at Ballura House and Garden. I'd like now to introduce the Lifetime Achievement Awards. The Lifetime Achievement Awards are a very special category that recognise individuals within our professional community that have dedicated many, many years to the profession. This year, our award goes to Michael Aitken, who is a volunteer from the Cyril Kett Optometry Museum. The judges' comments were that Michael Aitken has been volunteering as an archivist to help organise and catalogue items of historical interest to the profession of optometry since 1961. Since 1961. Starting from small beginnings, the collection became formally established as the Cyril Kett Optometry Museum and Archive in 1971. Since that time, over 4,000 items and artefacts, including spectacles, optometric instruments and equipment, books, artworks, and ephemera, has all been donated or acquired, all researched and catalogued by voluntary archivists. Michael has served continuously as an archivist over the 50 years and has been the primary force behind the acquisition and the cataloguing of the collection of items and rare book holdings, while building up a team of volunteers over the years. The judges commended Michael's contribution to the organisation in every way possible, financially, philanthropically, as well as through collection management and cataloguing. He has contributed significantly to the resource levels of the organisation, and his impact has been recognised internationally as well as through several awards. Here to introduce this year's winner is a colleague of Michael's who has worked with Michael for over 20 years, Neil Hanley from the College of Optometrists in London.
Well, hello and good evening, or if you only speak Aussie, g'day. I'm Neil Handley. I'm the curator of the British Optical Association Museum at the College of Optometrists in London, and it's my great pleasure to send greetings to you tonight, to all of you down under, from here, up above. Tonight we're paying tribute to Michael Aitken, a great friend of mine, who's been involved in the history of optometry since 1961. Which, believe it or not, was a whole year before that most famous of Australian exports, Dame Edna Everage, introduced us all to spectacle frames like this. Michael's interested in much more than just spectacle frames and contact lenses. He's also interested in the history of sight testing and the detection and diagnosis of ocular disease. And his primary interest is as a bibliophile, and he's also a donor of rare and historic books to his collection. But Michael has done so much more. He is a researcher of the highest order. He has overseen the design and build of a brand new gallery. He has introduced that museum to public engagement activities, such as participation in the open house event. He has written extensively, for example, through the pages of Hindsight, a journal on the history of optometry produced by colleagues at the American Academy of Optometry, and also for the newsletter of the Ophthalmic Antiques International Collectors Club, based here in the United Kingdom, but with a truly international membership. And through their activities, including their overseas visits, Michael has been a true ambassador for his topic. I should stress that Michael enjoys walking. This is very important. He has a life outside of museums, but his contribution to the heritage sector is immense. He's recruited and trained a team of volunteers to ensure that his legacy continues at the Cyril Kett Optometry Museum in Melbourne, but it's very fitting that at least one of the galleries there is now named after him. And he's done all of this whilst himself being only, and I say only, a volunteer. What a wonderful contribution you've made, Michael, and it's an absolute pleasure to pay tribute to you tonight.
Thank you, Neil, for those very kind remarks. I'm delighted to have been awarded this honour. I understand the award is essentially for my long involvement with the Kett Museum and the archive at the Australian College of Optometry. This collection began in 1970 after Cyril Kett bequeathed a number of optical antiques to the college. The late Brian Flynn and I slowly built on the collection over the next couple of decades. After Brian, I was joined by Pamela Sutton, whose serious knowledge and dedication has greatly advanced our archive. And when Professor Barry Cole retired as head of the college, he joined us with his enthusiastic drive. In more recent years, Colin Bates, Joe Chapman and Kate Doherty have all added incredibly valuable strength to our team. We now have a world-class optometric archive of 4,000 items. Some highlights include a mid-17th century Delft wall tile, a copy of the Latin edition of Isaac Newton's Optics from 1706, and much more recently, examples of spectacles worn by two 21st century Australian Prime Ministers. When COVID lifts, I urge you all to visit. Thank you.
Well, congratulations, Michael. That's fantastic, and I'll be very keen to come and see the museum one day. That it really sounds amazing, and you know, to have so Isaac Newton spectacles. You know, if you accidentally dropped them, it would just help prove the point, wouldn't it? But so that was great, and thank you, Neil from London, for your kind words, and also your allusion to letters and numbers on the wall behind you. That was great too. While that was going on, I did take a sneaky look at the comments because I haven't had a chance. I've got a private chat thing on my screen, and I don't get to see the other comments, but it's great to see that you're very active in the comment circles there, and great to see Margaret Bertley really getting some valuable thoughts out there to share. So good on you, Margaret. Great to see you at least in word form. Anyway, we're going to move on. I'd like to introduce Deb Tout-Smith from Museums Victoria, who's here to introduce the Martin Hallett Award for individual contribution to community heritage. Community heritage. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Deb Tout-Smith.
Thank you, Patrick. It's now my pleasure to present the 2021 Martin Hallett Award for Individual Contributions to Community Heritage. This prestigious award was established last year in a partnership between Amaga Victoria and Victorian Collections to recognise and celebrate colleagues who, like Martin, have played a significant role in the preservation of our shared cultural heritage, held in hundreds of museums, large and small, across Victoria. Martin Hallett was a lifelong champion of museum collections, community engagement and empowerment. He started his museum career as an agricultural scientist and curator at Museums Victoria, and ended as Deputy Chief Executive of the museum. In the early 1980s, as president of the Victorian branch of the Museums Association of Australia, Martin helped organise Victoria's first Museum of the Year Awards, which helped secure Victorian government funding for what is now Amaga Victoria. When he moved to Creative Victoria in 2003, Martin played an integral role in the formation of Victorian Collections, one of Amaga Victoria's flagship programs. His contribution was far-reaching, and although we lost Martin nearly 2 years ago, his legacy will long endure. In fact, next year, Museums Victoria is going to publish a book of essays contributed by many of Martin's colleagues and friends. The book will chart a time of huge change in the museological world, in which Martin was so often at the forefront. It will celebrate his influence on collection management practices around the world. It will articulate his talent for fostering community collaboration and supporting community museums, and it will give emerging museum professionals an insight into the recent history of the sector, which impacts all of us every day in everything that we do. And the book will also be a testament to the high personal regard in which Martin was held by so many. The winner of the Martin Hallett Award will be one of the first to receive a copy of the book, which will come out in March next year, all being well. This year, the outstanding nominations were received for the Martin Hallett Award. Each nomination demonstrated significant and valuable work in the preservation of community heritage, and each demonstrated the ethos Martin followed, that we are stronger when we work together. And now it's my pleasure to announce the 2021 Martin Hallett Award winner, Claire Gervasoni. Congratulations, Claire. Claire is from Ballarat Heritage Services and Federation University. She's a long-standing and leading user of Victorian collections since it began in 2010 and a leader in her region. She has enabled the transfer of skills to volunteers and believes strongly in the digitisation of material as a preservation and interpretation tool. She has instigated cataloguing and best practices in many Victorian collections, including Ballarat University Library and Ballarat Heritage Services. Claire has been a clear and vocal advocate for small and community organisations that use Victorian collections. The judges commended Claire on her outstanding cataloguing practices, her involvement in training individuals and groups in digitisation, and her sharing of outcomes on a range of platforms, from Facebook groups to wikis, exhibitions to digital stories. The judges said, Claire is the consummate champion of preserving and making accessible grassroots community collections using Victorian collections. Congratulations, Claire.
Thank you so much for this award, and a particular thank you to my nominators, who are great community players themselves. I'd like to thank my workplace, Federation University, and the many voluntary organisations I contribute to. The people in those places are a delight to work with and make it so easy to contribute. I'm really delighted to win the Martin Hallett Award. I had so much time for Martin, and I loved chatting to him about, in particular, regional collections and their importance. He was instrumental in so many ongoing future developments within the museum sector, and I benefit so much from Culture Victoria and Victorian collections, which I'm an early adapter to. Thank you so much for this award, and lovely to remember Martin.
Thank you so much, Deb. Congratulations, Claire. Claire, I think I met you probably 25 years ago when you used to help with research at Sovereign Hill. Your knowledge is incredible, and it's a most deserved award. It was great to see you recently celebrating your Swiss-Italian heritage on Restoration Australia. I think they did a rerun of that, one of those episodes, just last weekend. So look, congratulations, Claire. That's just fantastic. My own memories of Martin are wonderful too. I think Martin knew every significant object that there was in every museum in Victoria. He knew everything inside out. So a wonderful award. Thank you so much, and thank you, Deb, for that great introduction for that award. So moving on to our organisation awards, which have been proudly sponsored by Archival Survival for many years, I'd like to welcome Andrew Hiskins, who's the Amaga Victoria Branch President. Please welcome. Hello, Andrew. Welcome to the awards.
Hello, Pat. I was amazed to see your musical prowess being demonstrated earlier. Great.
Thank you. I was inspired by Danny Pearson with the stave, and I thought, what musical instrument can I play that covers the whole breadth of one note? And it's the jaw harp. It actually, I don't think you can do. I don't think you can do anything else with that. Yeah. So, but anyway, it's an instrument, and it puts the treble clef to rest. There's a pun there. Yeah. So how have you been, Andrew?
Oh, okay. I mean, you know, as most of us have been through lockdown, you sort of find that you get a bit of slippage, and you get a bit of optimism, and then you get a bit of kind of, oh dear. But broadly speaking, you know, it's been incredibly busy. Ash was talking about how busy we've been in terms of strategic planning and grant applications for Amaga Vic, which, you know, we're crossing our fingers for going forward. And just in terms of other projects and work, it's been, you know, a really busy time. So yeah, I look at what can I say? 2022, you know, it's a real annus horribili, I think, to quote the Queen, and that's 2 in a row. So I don't think the Queen had 2 in a row quite in the same way.
No, absolutely. Anyway, great to chat. Well, I'll see you at the end of the evening, Andrew, and I'll hand it over to you to introduce the Archival Survival Awards.
Thank you very much, Pat. And look, I should say to everyone, I'm also coming to you from Wurundjeri country. I'm in Richmond, near the Yarra or the Birrarung, and in fact, I'm near one of the sections, which is one of the remaining bits that is the original course of the river, because I'm in Richmond, just near Herring Island, and that bit that runs around the other side. Herring Island used to be part of Richmond, is part of the original course of Birrarung. So it's a poignant thing. I think we've changed so much. So I pay my respects to their elders, past, present, and future. So moving on to the awards. First up is the Archival Survival Award for a volunteer-run organisation. So that's up to 1 EFT paid staff member. So the shortlist includes Her Place Museum, a women's museum, for the Unmasked exhibition. The Australian Queer Archives, History of LGBTIQ+ Victoria in 100 Places and Objects project and website. Phillip Island, At Home and at War, Phillip Island. And RMIT for the Store Rationalisation project. And the winner is Her Place Women's Museum Australia and the Unmasked exhibition. The judges' comments were that they acknowledged how moving the exhibition was, and in fact it actually made them cry. The exhibition had a clear curatorial premise, good exhibition outcome and design scope. It was well researched and presented using lived experience as well as scholarship, and it demonstrated excellence in research, curation and programming.
Her Place Women's Museum Australia is honoured to accept this award. The Unmasked exhibition underscores the fundamental role that nurses and midwives have played and continue to play in healthcare. Unmasked began as a special exhibition to celebrate the International Year of the Nurse and the Midwife in 2020, but COVID-19 conditions heavily impacted cultural life, postponing celebrations and closing collections to the public. This brought about an opportunity for Her Place for lateral thinking on what stories were important to showcase, and an opportunity to make connections within the community at this uniquely disconnected time. The unfolding events of 2020 and 2021 were thus woven into the exhibition, giving us a chance to highlight the extraordinary and courageous work of nurses and midwives, both past and present. On behalf of the Her Place Board, I would like to thank Dr. Madonna Grahan, Professor Odette Best, and the exhibition team for their expertise and contribution. We would also like to thank the Department of Health, Safer Care Victoria, and the Victorian branch of the ANMF for funding and supporting this important and timely project. Thank you.
Thank you. And yes, just so timely given COVID. Now, the judges also awarded a highly commended to the Australian Queer Archives, a history of LGBTIQ+ Victoria in 100 Places and Objects project and website. The judges commended such a worthwhile project that sees this important archive develop further. Now, to the nominees of the Archival Survival Award for Small Museums and Galleries. The nominees are the Beechworth Burke Museum, the Burke Museum online cataloguing program with the acronym BMOCP. PMI, Victorian History Library, that's the Paran Mechanics Institute and Circulating Library, for their project, the Library of Last Resort. The Johnson Collection for Jubilation, Diamonds and Pearls. And Warrnambool Art Gallery for the WAG Ma Nation Gallery and Aboriginal-led Legacy Initiative. And the winner is Warrnambool Art Gallery for the WAG Ma Nation Gallery and Aboriginal-led Legacy Initiative. The judges were impressed with the gallery's initiative in community building partnership. They commended the organisation for developing a new Indigenous curators role and collaboration between gallery and the local community. And the judges thought that the initiative clearly demonstrated outstanding work and best practice in First Peoples agency and engagement. Here is their acceptance speech.
Ngatinwa, we're speaking to you from the land of the Peekwurrung people of the Ma Nation. I pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. We acknowledge that WAG is a gallery drawing proudly on Aboriginal culture, knowledge and heritage in partnership with the Ma Nation people. Hi, my name is Sherry Johnstone and I'm the Curator of Cultural Engagement here at the Warrnambool Art Gallery.
Hello, I'm Vanessa Gerrans. I'm the Director at the Warrnambool Art Gallery, and we are so thrilled to be receiving this award for the Ma Nation Gallery and Aboriginal-led Legacy Initiative. This initiative is about commitment towards self-determination and cultural celebration. It's made possible by Sherry Johnstone in her role, but importantly, led by a steering committee of elders and cultural leaders. And we send a huge congratulations to Auntie Vicky Cousins, Auntie Christina Saunders, Auntie Bronwyn Razum, Alice Oogle, Uncle Robbie Lowe Senior, Uncle Lockie Eccles and John Clark.
Over the past year, so many people have helped to create this special meeting place for education, passing on knowledge, sharing stories and showing contemporary culture to young people in the greater community. I'd like to also give congratulations to the artists that have been involved in that space, and that being Charmaine Clark, Brett Clark, Tiny Empire Collective, Lee Arkapour, Llewell Hunter, John Sherwood, Fiona Clark, the Cocoa Bloke Stamps Group, Taryn Love, Sandra and Melissa Aitken, Jacob Sims and Jordan Gould. Thanks to all the young women also and the mentors involved in the Ngātuk Collective program. We can't wait to share the designs and the products the girls have made, which will all be available and ready for Christmas.
And finally, a warm thanks to the supporters of this initiative, the Helen McPherson Smith Trust, the Warrnambool Art Foundation, Creative Victoria, the Office for Women, Regional Arts Australia and Victoria, the David and Isabel Jones Foundation and the Warrnambool City Council. We're super thrilled for the recognition, so thanks very much.
Wow, just what a project, and really, you know, that sense of how many people and how many partners it takes to bring something like that together. Extraordinary achievement. The judges also awarded a highly commended award in this category to the Beechworth Burke Museum for the Burke Museum online cataloguing program. The judges commended the museum for successful adaptation to COVID and creating a good partnership project that strengthens skill levels in the sector. And I guess if some of you came to Victorian Collections Day, you will have seen presentations on that extraordinary project. Now, moving on to the Amaga Victoria Award for Medium Museums and Galleries. And the nominees are the Geelong Gallery for Roan in Geelong Exhibition Design, Grimwade Conservation Services, the University of Melbourne, Costume Lab, Conservation in Action, Jewish Holocaust Centre, International Holocaust Remembrance Day 2021, and the commemoration of the liberation of Auschwitz. Museum of Chinese Australian World War II soldiers. Oops, hold on, I skipped a line. Museum of Chinese Australian History, Chinese Anzac and Chinese Australian World War II Soldiers Research, Publication and Exhibition. The National Wool Museum, On the Land, Our Story Retold. Monash Art Museum, Stages, Photography Through the Pandemic, Mornington, MPRG Online 2020-21, RMIT University, RMIT Gallery for Future You, Tarrawarra Museum of Art, Looking Glass, Judy Watson and Yoni Scarce, and Grimwade Conservation Services, the University of Melbourne, for Sustainable Conservation Practice. And the winner is the National Wool Museum for On the Land, Our Story Retold. The judges commended the National Wool Museum for developing such a complex and detailed, well-researched and considered permanent exhibition on a budget. The exhibition bravely engages with communities and audiences, confronting frontier stories to bring balance to the celebration of wool as an economic and cultural phenomenon across regional Australia, including in the Geelong region. And here is the acceptance speech.
Greetings from Geelong. On behalf of the City of Greater Geelong and the team at the National Wool Museum, thank you. Nyatni in the language of the Wadawurrung, the traditional owners of the unceded lands and waters of this place we now call Geelong. To the Australian Museums and Galleries Association Victoria and the Victorian Awards Committee, thank you for selecting On the Land, Our Story Retold. It is always humbling to have your work recognized and celebrated by peers in industry. They say it takes a village. Nowhere is this more evident than in the creation of a museum experience like On the Land, Our Story Retold. More than 30 traditional owners, artists, craftspeople, historians, and external contractors came together to make this experience a reality. This is for them. Congratulations. And to Dr. Luke Keogh, Senior Curator at the National Wool Museum, who had the vision and led the project. On the Land, Our Story Retold is all about change. It is about people and places and our impact on the land. It is about a deeper cultural and environmental understanding of our collective history and this place we now call Australia. We look forward to welcoming you to Geelong, to the National Wool Museum, and to On the Land, Our Story Retold. Thank you. Nyatni.
Thanks very much, Patrick. And I'm just looking at the comments, and Patrick gave a shout out to Margaret Bertley, and I can just see on the screen there that she noted that it was not only congratulations to the Wool Museum, but very tough competition in this round. And that was one of my observations. We had 2 screens worth of people who put in for that award, so it was very tough. The judges awarded 2 highly commended awards in this category. The first, also to Geelong, was for the Geelong Gallery for Roan in Geelong exhibition design. The judges acknowledged this exhibition as a significant design and audience development achievement for Geelong Gallery that repositions it as a destination for new audiences. And the second highly commended goes to Grimwade Conservation Services, the University of Melbourne, for Costume Lab, Conservation in Action. The judges recognised the potential of the project, how it educates the public about conservation in a dynamic programming context. So we move on now to the final award for today, and that's the Imaga Victoria Award for Large Museums and Galleries. The shortlist for this category is ACME, The Story of the Moving Image, Museums Victoria, Treasures of the Natural World, International Touring Exhibition from the Natural History Museum in London, hosted by Museums Victoria. Museums Victoria also for 1 Year On, Stories of COVID-19 in Melbourne suburbs. And finally, State Library Victoria for the Rural and Regional Photography Commission. And the winner is ACME for their $40 million redevelopment project of their permanent exhibition, The Story of the Moving Image. The judges commended ACME for such a well-executed project. The major exhibition renewal for ACME is built around technologically innovative displays and artist commissions, which really bring diverse voices into the telling of the story of the moving image, including giving voice to First Peoples. ACME is a world-leading institution in its field, and this project represents a consolidation of its status in Australia and beyond. And here is their acceptance video.
On behalf of everybody at ACME, I just want to thank you so much at Amaga Victoria for this wonderful award. The Story of the Moving Image is the most ambitious exhibition that ACME has ever embarked on. It was 3 years in the making, and we worked with so many wonderful collaborators that it's a real testament, I think, to the principles of co-design, which really underpinned our entire process, and which I think really form the foundation for creating a wonderful experience for our visitors. There's so many incredible artists and collaborators who we worked with along the way, but I must mention a couple. Firstly, Second Story, Sapient Razorfish, who are our experienced exhibition designers. I'd like to acknowledge Sue Harrop, who was the project manager for SOMI and just did an extraordinary job. And I would also like to acknowledge the Indigenous Advisory Group, who offered us amazing guidance throughout the entire process. And finally, I can't finish without acknowledging the incredible ACME staff. What an amazing team of people. So many people worked on this project, and I'd like to acknowledge the team leaders, Sarah Tutton, Seb Chan, Chris Harris, and Graham Jeffcott. Thanks again, Amaga. We're so proud to have won this award.
Well, thanks so much. Thanks so much, Katrina. It's just extraordinary how many people it takes to do these things, and all of that hard work, and 3 years in the making, and COVID hitting and delays and so on. Just an amazing achievement and a great exhibition. So the judges also awarded a highly commended to State Library Victoria for the Rural and Regional Photography Commission. The judges said that this was a comparatively modest project, but conceptually focused and well realised. It created employment and development opportunities for the regional photographers, and it gives voice to regional communities with scope to expand the project to other areas. It is an excellent example of outstanding community engagement in regional Victoria and partnering and supporting local artists and communities. So before we go, and I just hand back to Pat for a moment, I'd like to add my thanks to Ash and to the whole team at Amaga Victoria, who have been through, achieved an amazing amount across, yet another difficult year, and so much to do, so much planning, so many grant applications to put in, and so on. And for production tonight, I'd like to thank Jim and Chris, who are in the background here, who have steered us, hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going into the last phase seamlessly through so much. And in fact, Ash contributed to that as well. I think it's another string to her bow, developing slides and videos and so on. So, Patrick, over to you.
Well, thank you very much, Andrew. That's great. That brings us to the end of the award presentations. Congratulations to all of the nominees and all of the winners. And congratulations, Ash, too, on that slideshow. I think you'll be doing it every year because you did it so well. So
it's
back
going
to
to be
you, Andrew. Sorry?
Yeah, I think we'll write that into Ash's position description. I think that's the problem if you demonstrate something like that. Okay, look, before we go, I just want to mention our end of year event. So we are planning a in-person event. Can you believe it? We're crossing our fingers at the Royal Botanic Gardens. It would be so nice to see so many of you as possible. So tickets are already available on the Amaga Vic website, and there is a cap on numbers, so you need to book now to avoid disappointment. So we look forward to seeing you all there. And look, also, please do join us over on Zoom for a drink. We have some wonderful museum and gallery themed special cocktail lessons from the Amaga team coming up for those who want to join in. And I think it's an important thing, how do we, you've been sitting there and we've been broadcasting to you, and that's kind of blah, blah, really. And we've had the live chat, but this is an opportunity to just get together and actually talk to some people. And that would be a wonderful thing to do. So join us on Zoom. We're going to take a 5-minute break so that you can, if you haven't already, you can go and grab yourself a drink. And finally, from all of us, it is an absolutely huge thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Thank you, everyone. And it's good night from me.
And it's good night from him.
Good night.
What a lovely evening it's been, and thank you so much for joining us. From the team here at Imago Victoria, we just want to say a big congratulations to tonight's nominees and award recipients.
Now more than ever, we acknowledge the importance of collective celebration and peer recognition.
And for that reason, we look forward to the Victorian Museums and Galleries Awards every year.
These past 12 months have continued to challenge us, but you've all come through with the greatest of resilience.
The contributions of our sector volunteers and staff are a true testament to the value of museums and galleries.
Our institutions play a vital role with the power to reflect and shape our society.
We are thrilled to celebrate your achievements tonight, along with your peers and colleagues.
We thank you for going above and beyond and really excelling, especially while navigating lockdowns and evolving restrictions.
We can't wait to visit Victorian museums, galleries, libraries, archives and historical societies again.
From the whole of our hearts, thank you, and we'll see you all again in real life soon.